Football's over, and it's a sad time. But before I go into complete and utter sadness that I have nothing to watch on Sundays, like, I got to be hopeful for a couple of things. The XFL's coming. The Vegas Vipers, I'm looking forward to watching a couple of their games and seeing, like, all these players that, you know, a couple of players in the XFL have panned out in the NFL. And I think with the right financial backing, which I think the XFL has now, you can possibly see competitive football being played year round. I love that they start the season in the spring, goes into the summer, which leads into summer football camps, then fall camp, you know, and before you know it, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Okay. So don't be sad for too long. We got plenty of content coming out. Like I said in a previous video, I'm going to be doing more deep dive videos, getting really, really analytical with what these teams, especially like my Saints, what we should be doing this upcoming season. And if you subscribe to the channel, you'll be able to see all this stuff like on your homepage, right? So how else am I supposed to grow and make this show become grander than life without you guys hitting that subscribe button? All that being said, got a new engineer behind the decks today. Kyle, say what's up.
What is up?
Thank you for that. Kyle's only engineered a couple of shows here. I don't think he's ever engineered one start to finish. So I'm happy to be your first.
Yeah, it's great.
I love it. I love it. He plays classical guitar, so maybe in some of my videos later on down the road, Kyle, maybe you can play like some riffs.
Yeah,
if I'm
some background music. Yeah,
absolutely. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we want to cover the thing that everybody watched this past Sunday and get George's thoughts on the way I thought that this game played out. So I was a Chiefs ride or die hard. I said this on my first show, and I'll insert this clip right here. And we're back. I told you, it's as simple as coaching, okay? Coaching is the difference maker when both teams are even and both teams work as hard. Andy Reid just simply outclassed, but it's not just Andy Reid. It's Eric Bieniemy and it's Steve Spagnuolo. They're like the perfect trio together. They love working with each other, and it's very evident in the fact that they are so detailed in the way that they game planned for the Eagles. Now, the Eagles head coach, or the Eagles offensive coordinator, he used to be the quarterback at UNLV. He just got the head coaching job for the Colts, which if I'm like the Colts now, I'm a little worried. Okay, the Colts are not set up like the Eagles. And now they got this guy coming in as a head coach. I think the number one reason why this dude's coming in as a head coach is because he looks like a rocker. And Jim Irsay, just so you know, Kyle, I don't know if you know who Jim Irsay is. You should give him a little goog later.
Okay.
He's got an extensive guitar collection. Like, I've heard a lot of stories about this man. And so he's so rich and he owns the Colts. And what he does with these coaches is he has like these 12-hour interviews. And in these 12-hour interviews, he like, look at this guitar, man. I got Jimi Hendrix to sign this one, dude. So the coach that they hired looks like a guy that would like fucking go along with I'm really interested. You know, like after like the 15th guitar, you're just like, is there another one? You know, you're kind of over it. I don't know. That's how I would feel. You'd probably feel differently, Kyle. Mm-hmm. Most definitely feel differently. But yeah, no, he looks like he fits the part, but that's the main thing that I wanted to highlight early on is that it was extremely evident on the defensive side of the ball for me. Steve Spagnuolo all night long was sending 7 people in the box. Who said this? I'm going to insert the clip that I made before the fucking Super Bowl happened right here again. And we're back. A 7-man box to stop the Eagles' run game. Now, what happened was they were running early on, the pressures were getting to Jalen Hurts, but they were losing contain. And what you saw in the second half was a more concerted effort on like really concealing the field right down to the middle. And they were doing exactly what I thought they would do. And it was just a bend, don't break defense, right? Let's go into how the bend, don't break defense played right into what the Chiefs wanted. The Eagles all game long were sitting on the ball. Okay. they crushed time of possession. I don't even want to look at the time of possession stat because I saw it in like the first half and it was already like 16 minutes to 7 minutes or 6 minutes, all right, that the Eagles had the ball over the Chiefs. You can't sit on the ball when you have that high-powered of an offense. Now, what I think was going through Nick Sirianni's head is like, hey, the longer I could keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, the better. But at the same time, it's like the Chiefs' entire game plan was set up to, okay, we're going to go tit for tat, tit for tat, tit for tat, right? We're willing to score at a rapid rate, and that's why a lot of their play calls for the Chiefs, man, they were just like the run game sliced up the Eagles defense, but at the same time, it was just so many open receivers, whether it was people are saying the field was fucked up. They spent 2 years making this field for the Super Bowl at a local sod farm outside of Arizona, and everybody was slipping. They were changing their cleats. It was not a good look for like the sod farmers of the world. I mean, I would assume that's already a dying breed as it is. I don't know how you would have a sod farm in a place that's 110 degrees. It has to be kept indoors, most definitely. Right? I don't even, yeah. No, it just blows my mind. But beyond that, the Eagles sat on the ball. And when the Eagles sat on the ball and they're going 3rd and 1, quarterback sneak, 2 yards, cloud of dust, 40 seconds goes off the clock twice. So think about it. Almost a minute and a half would go off the clock when the Eagles would run a quarterback sneak on 3rd down, get set up for their play on 1st down. You're talking about like a full minute coming off the clock for a play that got you 2 fucking yards. Okay. When your offense, though, was flowing, the Eagles' offense had that punching capability. I think, though, it was too conservative to a fault, right? It's like, obviously, we know it's going to work, bro. You have this flying V wedge formation that is guaranteeing you 2 yards. It's literally unstoppable. You've gotten it. I think the end of the year stat for them was probably 36 times that they got it out of 40. So they only didn't get 2 yards on that play 4 times. Effective, right? I don't blame you. But does that fucking put points on the board? It doesn't. And although, right, they punched in touchdowns when they needed to, they, Patrick Mahomes was not on the field for too long. And for a person that had a high ankle sprain and that got rolled up on before halftime, you figure you want him to not like crush you guys by making big play after big play after big play. And he did that. They moved the ball down the field so quick that it really didn't give the Eagles an opportunity to possibly re-injure that ankle or put at least a little more pressure and stress on that ankle. They helped him out. I mean, Patrick Mahomes was big chilling like on a majority of the time on the sideline of this game. All that being said, the holding call. It was a holding. It was a holding. We got to stop with the whole crybaby shit about the refs. It was a holding call. At least even the corner admitted it. First off, everybody does this in the league. You've seen it all throughout the year. How else are you supposed to stop somebody that runs a 4.40 who's cutting on a dime and his entire job is to get away from you? You grab him. You hold. You do the things that are illegal. And if you don't get caught, then, you go as a Hall of Famer. If you get caught a lot and you end up homeless or bagging groceries, that's the NFL. All right. That's it. You got to do what you got to do. It's a dog eat dog world. He held in a big moment. But let me tell you something. I don't think Jalen Hurts leads that team down with 1 timeout to kick a field goal. I think that Chiefs defense had it dialed the fuck in that 4th quarter. And they were getting so much pressure on Jalen Hurts that was causing him. I mean, like, we saw numerous times where Jalen Hurts would roll out, feel the pressure coming on either side, and he would end up scrambling like 15 yards in the backfield. After giving the ball all he's got on the run, the ball would go like 30 yards. And that's it. That was it. The defense for the Chiefs was superior. They made the huge. Oh, I mean, it was Jalen Hurts that made a mistake. Do you think Jalen Hurts would have won Super Bowl MVP after giving up a fumble 6? I think, and I know he had tied for the most rushing touchdowns, in Super Bowl history. I think here's a stat that I need to look up now, and I thought of yesterday. Does Jalen Hurts also go down for the most accounted points in Super Bowl history? Because if Jalen Hurts, he scores 3 touchdowns, that's 18 points. But then he also fumbled it, gave it to the other team. They scored. If he doesn't fumble it, they don't get the points. So he really scored 24 points. 6 of them were for the other team. Is that the most points ever scored by an individual? Or accounted for touchdowns by any individual in Super Bowl history? We'll find out. I'm going to do a little searching. We'll make a clip of that. It comes down to that last play too. I cannot understand why these coaches don't have a more creative way of ending these games with laterals or like a screenplay that is somewhat effective with a lot of tossing. Like that Hail Mary, to see it fall like 10 yards short was a crappy way to end it, because you at least want to see a ball tip in the air. Maybe you do like a volleyball play. I actually like that, where you throw it to a receiver in the middle of the field, and that receiver, all he does is he like volleyball hits it behind him, and as everyone's coming and rushing, like, oh, he's going to catch it, he hits it right behind his head. I'm onto something. I don't know if it's a penalty. Would that be considered as as a forward pass? You'd have to really make it look like a mistake. Like, I missed it. That could work. They're not getting creative enough though at the end of these games, and it just the Super Bowl ended with a fizzle. It was a field goal, and then it was just like is anything gonna happen? Nothing happened. I wanted to see something happen. It was such a good game, back and forth, up until the very end, and I think the team that deserved to win won the game. Andy Reid with his 3rd ring, Patrick Mahomes with his 2nd, Travis Kelce and him are Brady and Gronk, and then the debate's got to be had. Is Brady and Gronk a better combination than Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady? At this moment in time, you have to see the way it plays out for each team. Gronk was a better run blocker than Kelce is, but Kelce's a 10 times better route runner than Gronk is. I still think Brady and Gronk currently are the better of the two duos. I think with one more playoff hoorah, I think Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes with an iconic 6 touchdowns in the postseason next year that would solidify it for me. Like, I need a little more touchdown production, like overload touchdown production, because I remember there's so many Super Bowl memories of Gronk in my head, and I just need to have that same amount of memories that are just like live rent free with Patrick Mahomes and Kelce. So currently, Tom Brady and Gronk are a better duo than Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Done. Last thing I'm going to go over, the Super Bowl odds for next year. The Chiefs right now, according to BetMGM, coming in at plus 600. Then we got the Bengals at plus 850, the Eagles at plus 900, San Fran at plus 900, the Bills at plus 900, the Cowboys at 14-1. I'll post a screenshot of this so that way you guys can see what I'm seeing here from BetMGM. But I mean, there's a couple of teams that jump out at me right off rip that I'm like, I could see a little bit of value. One team in particular, I'm back on the Broncos. I'm back on them. Buck 'em, right? That is what Sean Payton's new motto is going into this new season. Sean Payton, I miss you so much. You were the best coach the Saints have ever had, and we regret ever, not making you happy. I know Drew Brees was ending, were you just not feeling the same way about Jameis Winston? Neither here nor there. you find love in Russell Wilson. And I myself had fallen out of love with Russell Wilson. There's been a lot of things. I made a clip talking about Russell Wilson only spending 27 cents to $1 for his charity. Only 27 cents went to charitable donations. The other 70 cents went to his friends or people working for the charity. Kind of fucked up. I mean, all charities do it to a certain extent. 27 cents to $1, though, is, I don't know. It's a little tough to swallow. There was a couple of people in the comments coming after me saying like, so what? Did you donate to charity last year? I'm like, well, what I did do is I gave a homeless man $1. And Russell Wilson would have given that homeless man $0.25, gave 75 cents to his wife. Okay. That's the only thing that I'm going to put out there. I just relay the information that's already written for me. That being said, I'm on the Bucks or the Broncos. Okay. 40-1 odds. They do have to get through Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. But I think Sean Payton is such an offensive genius that it's at least going to give the Chiefs fits. I think they pull out a wild card spot, and I think it could just be an attractive way to get this number early on here. I think early in the season, if they start having success, you see that number jump to 20-1, and then if they make the playoffs, then obviously you know what kind of odds you're going to be getting there, 10-1 possibly. So 40-1 right off the rip. Is it worth like, hey, $20 and a hope, right? Maybe you have dreams of the John Elway days. It could happen. My Saints, I did not like where they put my Saints on this as far as the odds go. 30-1. I do think the Saints should be 50-1. We have such a conundrum coming up, but like I said previously, make sure you subscribe to the page. I'm going to be doing a deep dive on what the Saints should do with their salary cap for this upcoming season so we can possibly win the Super Bowl. But man, we're in a hole. We owe $60 million right now. So like we have to figure out $60 million where to put it before this next season happens. We have to bring in new people. We have to get rid of people. So many moves have to be made. So many tough decisions. But that's why I'm going to be the GM for that YouTube video and tell you exactly what we need to do to get back to the promised land. All right. That was it for me today, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be coming back with some XFL odds, previews, and predictions, teams and players to watch out for so you can, if you ever see it on TV, you can impress somebody with like, oh, hey, this one dude, he went to this college and he had this many stats and this team's looking at blah, 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 blah. XFL content. College football is in the spring ball type of stir-in pot right now. Lots of recruiting. National Signing Day happened. The NFL draft right around the corner. You're going to want to stick around for that NFL draft content. I'm thinking about if I can. Yesterday I met Peyton Barber, who is a running back for the Raiders out here, and me and him had a good conversation. He was on the American Fan, which is another amazing sports show that covers all sports, not just football. They had this dude on, and he had an amazing story about how he left college early because his mom was homeless, and he needed to make money, and he ended up making all those things come true. He's played in the NFL for like 7 years. He's currently a free agent, Saints. He's currently a free agent, and he's looking healthy. And I think if he possibly ran the rock, gave Alvin Kamara some help, we get rid of Mark Ingram. We got to get rid of Mark Ingram. But can I have him on the show to kind of talk about his whole NFL combine process and what's going on in those players' minds as they are literally on the most difficult interview on the planet. Being in a tight spandex and having to perform football acts in front of lots of old white men with clipboards. That is the toughest interview. Next to like bikini server cocktail waitresses in Vegas. Probably like a second. But anyways, the way we're going to end this, Kyle, you're going to start running this music now. Then we'll cross-dissolve into my logo. Ladies and gentlemen, follow Gridiron Junkeez everywhere. I'm Mr. George Carmona. Have a great one. Go Vegas Vipers, baby.